really, and you don't know it at that age, but it's really like, see, people don't realize these are spirits that are in people. And even the word talks about this. It's a scripture that says, the good that I want to do, I can't do. Basically, no matter how hard I try to do it, I just can't do it. And it's the spirit inside of us that causes us to sin, that promotes these different sexual immorality desires, whether that's stepmother and son, and stepdaughter and stepfather, cousins, and all this other crazy stuff that you can get in. These desires come from the spirit that's within people. Here's a guy who's obviously a manipulator, and we know Satan is a manipulator, right? But something you said earlier is he had to present fear to you. That was the first part of this, because when you was talking, I remember the word says, for God does not give us the spirit of fear, but of peace, love, and a sound mind, right? So the inflicting fear on a person is one of the first things you do to cripple them. Because now I'm giving you a spirit that don't belong to God.
Right.
I'm giving you a spirit that God didn't even give you. So I'm giving you this, and that spirit there is going to be enough for me to carry out the rest of the things I need to do. As long as I can keep you in fear, I can control you. And that was the first thing he did. And then he started imprinting that same fear on your mother.
Yep.
So that's, man, that is, wow.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Very.
It's deep.
And I think at that point, while he's physically like being open with it and telling me like, okay, you know, got you under control now. You know, I'm still getting your mom under my belt.
Wow.
He would always. That's when that was now his time to start implanting your mom is a bad mom. She's not really, you know, having your best interests at heart. She don't really love you. She don't really care about you. And it wasn't so easy at first because I'm like, ain't no way. Like, I know my mom. Like, she like, you lying. Like, you can't ever tell me that. But no, he definitely, he was making it a point to make sure I had that extra fear in me. And in turn, now I know, in turn, he was also doing it to my mother, you know? So yeah, then he started playing on my mom, talking about, you know, your daughter thinks you're a bad mom, like you're not doing a good job.
Man, this is so crazy because this man really sitting back thinking of ways to how can I impart the most fear in her mom. Like, this man really sitting here plotting these things.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing to, and it's all bad, but it's one thing to be doing this to somebody, but it's another thing to be strategically planning how I'm going to basically create this ecosystem of fear to where I can just get all the things I want. I got the mom, I got the daughter, and really, he probably could have even got it to a point to where now your mom knows what's going on, but he done imparted so much fear to where it's like, okay, what you gonna do about it? And it's crazy that somebody really will be sitting there plotting and then sitting back and orchestrating it, doing it and seeing what works and what don't work. Like, that is crazy. That is crazy.
And, you know, I think that was probably one of the worst things that my mom could ever tell him, you know, because I remember I was there for this conversation. We was out to eat. I think it was a Sunday, maybe after church or, you know, after some type of event. But I remember we were all out to eat, and he asked the question, "What's your biggest fear?" She said, you know, having any one of my kids think, you know, I didn't raise them right, being a bad mother, you know, feeling like I failed as a mother.
Wow.
To later find out that that's exactly what he used. That's exactly what he would tell her.
Wow.
And from that point, obviously he's telling me one thing and putting stuff in my head, telling her another thing, putting stuff in her head. So naturally, you know, I'm falling back. You know, maybe we're not as close as I thought. And because he was not only was he turned out to be an alcoholic, again, he hid it very well in the beginning, but he turned out to be a drug addict as well. So he faithfully every night he would drink his vodka, smoke his weed, and occasionally, you know, his lines, his cocaine. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm already numb at this point to what's happening, so let me try this. So, you know, he would allow me to drink with him. And my mom never knew because she's not drinking what I'm drinking. Like, she didn't smell it on, I wasn't close enough for her to smell it on me, or, you know, and I wasn't acting crazy. But that's how, you know, I got introduced to alcohol. That's when I started smoking weed, you know, and, you know, he would just, hey, do you want to do this? And I would be like, yeah, why not? Like, I know you feel good, so I want to feel good. So that's how, you know, I got introduced to that stuff, and it just, I never did cocaine now. Let me just put that out there. I wasn't dumb enough to touch that.
Right, girl.
Yeah, that was too real for me, honestly. But he definitely offered it. He was like, you know, just try. And I was like, yeah, no, like, no, I'm good. But yeah, that's when I got introduced to that stuff, and it felt good. It felt so good. But because that started happening, I started changing. My attitude started changing, and it was downhill from there. Between my relationship with, you know, my mom, that's when the distance really started packing on. That's when, you know, we really started getting separated. We weren't ever on the same page. We weren't really talking. You know, I was just numbing myself out as much as I can. And she eventually found out that I would, because she called me one time, making a drink. I definitely got yelled at, but at that point, again, I'm not even me at this point, because, you know, this whole, you know, it's like I have a shield over me.
Yeah.
Like the inner part of me, the innocent child in me, and that outer, you know, shell doesn't care at all. So I was arguing back with her at this point. I had never argued with my mama before that. You know, it was yes ma'am and do what she said. But yeah, it came to a point I didn't care, and I started fighting back, and we really just butt heads, and it was a matter of time before we I really it's like I didn't even want to live there anymore. Like I was done, you know, trying to have conversations with my mom. I was done, like I had no interest in just doing things as a family. Like I just kind of wanted to be by myself and drink alcohol and smoke weed, and that's all I wanted to do. And you know, he did get me into you know, a few hobbies. He was the one that introduced me to racing, so that was another outlet that honestly, throughout, it's weird to say, but through all of it, we kind of, I don't even want to say bonded in a way, but kind of, because I really took interest to it. But good things never last. And, you know, shortly after he introduced me to that and he realized, oh, this is something that she likes, he capitalized on that. And, you know, now it's, okay, let me take her to go race. And we wouldn't even do that. And he would, you know, touch on me and do whatever he wants. So, like, he ruined that for me as well. Yeah, so it tarnished our relationship.
So with this now, you 13, you 14, you growing up, you still going to school.
Oh yeah.
So you still interacting with people your age,
Mm-hmm.
boys your age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you talk about how this situation, you got engaged with drugs, with weed and alcohol. What other things did this also? Did porn become something that you got into because of it?
Yeah.
And that's one question. And two, now that you have been sexually active, but not willingly, right?
Right.
Now with people, with young boys your age, are you like, how can I say it? Was you wanting to engage in sexual activities with them because it's like, well, shoot, I'm already doing this. I already done been opened up to a whole nother world unwillingly, and like boys my age, I'm pretty sure they was horny. I'm pretty sure they like, you know. So did that become a thing too?
Yes. So he actually loved porn. Okay, and times that we would be alone, like in the house, like for anything, even my mom, like it got to a point he would just send her to the store for stuff just so he could have alone time with me, like. And so, yeah, he loved porn. So obviously I'm sitting in the living room chilling, you know, I got my little drink that I made, and he would just, you know, turn it on. And sometimes it would be enough time to do stuff to me, and sometimes it wasn't. We would just watch it. But it put that in my head and in my mind, so I'm like, okay, this is normal. Like, I might as well, you know, get ready for the future. But yeah, so that was instilled in me, and later on, you know, I would explore myself because I'm thinking this is normal. He's doing it. We're doing it together. And yeah, but as far as that really introduced me to wanting it with people my age, because like I said, I mean, the body responds how it responds. So my body's being pleasured, but I'm not enjoying it. So at the end of the day, I was like, if I'm gonna be experiencing this, I might as well have a good time and actually want to do it. So that's when I started seeking out my peers, basically, and the boys that were my age and even a little bit older. And I remember it was very hard because through this experience, you know, with a grown man, that wasn't enjoyable, that I didn't want to do, I basically created like this thought within myself that, you know, a man can never accept you because of what's happening to you, and you know they're gonna think you're dirty and you're disgusting, and they're not gonna want to have sex with you. So that really messed me up mentally and it affected me years after. But I still had the desire to want to do it because, again, if this is happening to me, it might as well be with somebody that I like, somebody my age. And eventually, you know, I just got past it, and I would throw myself on anybody and everybody that would allow me to, that wanted to, and that's where that started. And yeah, anybody and everybody that wanted to, you know, do it with me, I was down, because it was almost like I was trying to fill a void, like, within myself, trying to make myself feel better about it, what was happening, you know, at home. And what's crazy is, like, I even had sometimes where friends would come over, and, like, he would be there, and, you know, I got questioned before on, you know, why, you know, them feeling weird about him being there, basically. Like, they felt that too, but had no idea that it was going on. Wow. But I'm like, nah, y'all tripping. Like, wow. Let's go play somewhere else. Like, yeah. So I just kind of played it off, and everything progressed from there. Me having sex very often to, you know, continuing to use and abuse alcohol and weed, and I was rotting away almost, like just being numb and going about life aimlessly.